And we are live. And we already got a comment from JT Talks. What's up? So what's up, YouTube? This is Unger to the Max here. And welcome to another episode of the Sports Room. That's sports with a Z, not with an S. I made that change just yesterday, actually. And this is the first week of the NFL season. We are getting ready for Houston Texans at Kansas City Chiefs tonight. But for the purposes of this video, it is week one of the NFL season. Didn't think I would be saying that statement with all the craziness that has been going around. But we are starting off with a bang as the Cleveland Browns are going on the road to M&T Bank Stadium in the Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland, to take on the reigning, defending AFC North champion Baltimore Ravens and the reigning, defending league MVP Lamar Jackson. So, being that we are playing the Baltimore Ravens, there was only one YouTuber I could think of to do a video collaboration with, and that's this guy, Engraven Vids. As you can see, he is a big-time Baltimore Ravens fan, big-time football fan. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on, Josh.
So, we're going to stick to your hashtag of team keep it clean. I try to do my best normally with that on my channel in some of my videos. I'm not always able to do that, but I will do my best to hold myself accountable for that for this video.
Thank you. I appreciate
that. First of all, I actually don't hate the Baltimore Ravens. I know that might sound really confusing to a lot of Browns fans, but, you know, for me, the Ravens are a very good organization. You've kept John Harbaugh for a while. You've produced Hall of Famers, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs. I know he's not actually in the Hall of Fame yet, but if he's not a Hall of Famer, something's wrong there.
Right.
Ed Reed's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry, he is a Hall of Famer. My mistake. And you guys have just done it the right way. Like, you traded back up into the first round to get Lamar Jackson, for example. Like, you guys have kind of kept that old school of thinking on defense of just hit them hard, line them up, man-to-man defense, and just get after the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's been Ravens style. Ravens, that's why this last year and a half have been so strange, especially last year. But it's something that we can get used to because the Ravens, as a team, they've been known for so long just to have for having great defenses. Mm-hmm. And while last year the defense was still pretty good, it was the offense that was actually getting all the attention and getting consistent attention like every single week. And us as Ravens fans, we had it a tiny bit in 2014. I mean, 2014 was our best offense as Ravens ever, but is the bar for offense, the bar for offensive production, it wasn't really that high because Ravens, they just were never a consistently offensive team. That's why last year with them they actually had a top offense, top scoring offense, and obviously a top rushing offense. And they just, it was crazy how last year worked out. But us Ravens fans, we could get used to that.
Yeah, I'm sure how the playoffs ended left a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth. I'm sorry to remind you about that, but we're going to see this season. Hey, we experienced Tennessee first in week one when they came in and squashed us 43-13. So don't feel terrible, although you had it worse because it was in the playoffs. Yeah. Oh, we got a comment saying that they just announced white jerseys for week one. So I believe that means you guys are wearing your white jerseys in week one, which means we're going to wear our home jerseys in week 1, which I like that.
Right. Cool. Appreciate that, Trevor.
Yeah. I appreciate all the people who are on, whether you're here because of you're a Browns fan and you support my channel, or if you're a Ravens fan and support Justin's channel, whatever the case is, just glad you're here. But let's talk about this. So with no preseason, how do you think the Ravens are preparing for the Browns, knowing that we brought in a new head coach in Kevin Stefanski and a new offensive coordinator in Alex Van Pelt? So talk about that a little bit.
I think what Ravens are going to really be looking for in this game is tendencies. And because you guys are going to be bringing in a new offense, new head coach with Stefanski, you said Van Pelt calling the plays and whatnot. I think Ravens are going to try to look at those guys, look at their past to see what they've done, to see what they've run. And also just really try to look for Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. and Landry and Chubb and just everybody. Just look for their tendencies, what they like to do, what they're comfortable doing, and what they go to in certain situations. When the pressure's coming from the left, what does Baker Mayfield usually do? When the pressure's coming up the middle, what does Baker Mayfield usually do? And just to look to see how they can respond to the tendencies of the Browns offense so they can try to counter it, because they have limited to really nothing on this new Browns offense, since it is a new Browns offense and it wasn't what the Browns had last year. I do expect the Browns to still incorporate some of the things that may have worked last year, but it's gonna be a new offense, so it's gonna be a lot different.
Yeah, but we have a lot of the same players as last year on offense, with Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. So I would actually expect the Ravens to watch a little bit of film from last year just to refamiliarize themselves with, like, what type of quarterback is Baker Mayfield? Like, what routes does Odell Beckham Jr. like to run? What type of running back is Nick Chubb, for example? But I think a lot of teams are in that situation. And I talked about this in a previous video that I did. A lot of teams are going to be left in the dark. For example, like the Raiders are going on the road to play the Carolina Panthers. Well, the Panthers brought in Matt Rule, who was as their new head coach. He was the head coach for Baylor last season. And they brought in Joe Brady, who is the offensive coordinator for leading that prolific LSU offense. So with no preseason, the Raiders don't really have any film to watch to prepare for what the Panthers are going to do. So I feel like Baltimore's in a little bit of the same situation. But, you guys bring back pretty much the same team as last year, except with a couple additions.
Right.
And a couple departures as well. Most notably Earl Thomas. Right. But your defense, I think, is going to be equally as good, if not better, than last season. So, and I think the player who will make the biggest difference is actually Patrick Queen. Because, Tennessee gashed you guys in the run game, right? So, and I don't mean to harp on that, but that is what happened. But I think by sewing up the middle of the field like that, it helps improve your run defense, because a lot of running backs that I've noticed don't really run to the outside. They just try and pound it down the middle. I don't know if you see it that same way throughout the league or not.
Not for the Browns, because the Browns with those stretch runs, that's what really hurt us last year. Really for a lot of the teams that the Ravens struggle with run defense, like the Browns, the 49ers, the Titans, and the Chiefs too. It was a lot of those stretch runs, those runs to the outside where Ravens just they could not and did not set the edge. Therefore, they ended up getting gashed. So Browns, they run a lot of that same stuff. And that's what Ravens, they're gonna have to be ready for that. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's a lot of the same people who were on the team last year, but with some newcomers, and that's exactly what Calais Campbell is there to do. Really bring on and off the field presence, bring leadership, but bring somebody that can set the edge, and bring somebody that can provide some pressure as well, man. So yeah, it's all about setting the edge in this game. That's going to be the biggest thing. I think that's going to really dictate how this game goes. If the Ravens can control the edge against the Browns, those edge runs, those stretch runs, then they'll be in some good shape. But if they have trouble with it, then I think it's going to be a much closer game than it needs to be.
We got a lot of people commenting. David Renteria says the Browns are going to win week 1. I couldn't tell you the last time the Browns won a season opener, whether it was at home or on the road. We got Daniel Matthews saying Young and Queen will help with pursuing those outside runs. And yeah. So I think this game's going to be very low scoring because both teams, I think, are going to rely heavily on the run game, not just for this game, but throughout the season. Like, that's the type of offense I think Stefanski is going to bring in for the Browns this season. So, where we have running backs like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, where they can be power backs right down the middle, or we can use a stretch play like you said. And we can build our play action and passing game off of that. And I think you guys in Baltimore play a lot of the same way. You obviously with a freak of nature quarterback like Lamar Jackson, you're going to use more quarterback runs than we do. So, but Lamar Jackson is a decent passer, and you guys have some good receivers. So, who do you think is going to be the most important receiver for the Ravens in this game?
In this game,
Yeah.
I would say either Willie Snead or Miles Boykin. Now, and the reason I say that is because, of course, Hollywood Brown's been getting all the attention. Hollywood Brown is probably the best receiver on the Ravens roster. But with him being the best receiver on the Ravens roster, I think the Browns are going to give him a lot of attention. They're going to show him a lot of attention, and they're going to show him a lot of respect. Therefore, I think it's going to take one of the other receivers who may not have as much respect as a Hollywood Brown, may not have as much speed as a Hollywood Brown, but it's going to take one of those other guys to really step up. And that's why I say I think it's going to be either Willie Snead or Miles Boykin.
Interesting. If I had to choose a receiver to watch out for on the Browns, I feel like it's going to be – oh, geez.
With that, you can pick your poison, man, because Browns have some nice receivers.
Yeah.
And you all just re-signed, well, not just re-signed, but y'all re-signed Hollywood too, right?
Yeah.
You're on Hollywood.
Yeah. That's funny that we both have players on our team nicknamed Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I've followed the Ravens for a while. I actually want to get their Super Bowl 47 championship film because I just like to collect, championship films like that. I would love to come to a Ravens game eventually.
The next year?
Yeah. Although I was down in Miami for a Dolphins game, and it sounded like that's where you live. So why are you a Ravens fan?
Well, I'm from Maryland. I moved down to Miami a while back.
Oh, all right, cool. I was so confused when you told me like you live in Miami, and I'm like, wait a minute, you live in Miami, but you're a Ravens fan? Like,
nah, it's all good.
I'm not making the connection. But yeah, this game for me, like I said, this is gonna be a low scoring game. I don't expect it to be like 36-31, anything like that. I'm expecting like a 20, maybe 24-17 type game.
Okay.
Yeah. But even though I'm a Browns fan, I'm I'm not just going to say, oh, the Browns are going to go 16-0 and go undefeated. No, I'm going to be objective. And if I think the Browns are actually going to lose a game, I'll say that. And in this case, I think the AFC North is the Ravens to lose. So I think you guys are the more, what's the word? The better team as of right now, because you have, like I said, you have the same coaching staff. You brought back a majority of your team. Like I said earlier, made some additions, made some subtractions. Whereas we have a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, won't quite have the wrinkles out yet. So I am picking the Ravens to win this game 24-17. Low scoring game. Not a lot of flashy, big offensive plays. It's going to be one of those classic AFC North rock'em sock'em type games.
I'm also picking the Ravens, but I'm going 35-20. I think it's going to be one of those games that throughout the first half is close, while both teams are really still getting the kinks out of not having a preseason. I don't think it's going to be as sloppy as a lot of people think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be this terrible football product just because we didn't have any preseason. But I do think it's still going to take some time for teams to get adjusted, because this will be the first time that any teams are going up against opposite teams. They're going up against people that are not on the same team as them. They're not going up against their teammates in practice anymore. This is a real deal now. So I think that's going to take some adjusting to get through. But I'm going to go, 35-20 Ravens, because I think in the first half they're going to start off a little bit slow. Well, slower, but then in the second half, I think they'll pick up and start taking off. And Marcus Peters too. Got to give a shout out to Marcus Peters.
Yeah,
Marcus Peters, he got to get a pick this game.
Yeah. Who do you think Marcus Peters will be matched up against? Do you think they'll put him on Odell or Jarvis?
I think they'll mix it up, but they may have Marlon follow Odell. They don't usually do that, but I just think they'll mix it up. But if they do any following, then Marlon will be following Odell, so he can frustrate him again. Even though it was a little bit of holding here and there too last year, that game, but I think Marlon will follow Odell.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the Ravens Browns is becoming a rivalry again. I'm really hoping so, because for the last few years I've been like, maybe it's a rivalry, maybe not, because like the Ravens are usually near the top of the division, and the Browns are usually near the bottom of the division. Sometimes just plain old bottom of the barrel. So I'm just like, I want it to be a rivalry again. I want it to feel like it means something.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. Well, it already inherently does, because the Ravens are the former Cleveland Browns, and I'm not sure I fully agree with that statement.
Oh, do you mean like when you say you want it to mean something, do you mean like you want the games that are like more toward the end of the season to really count for more for both teams, and for there to be like a lot more on the line? Right.
And or have the games become a little bit chippy, where it's like, oh, the Browns are playing the Ravens. This is a must-see game because these two teams don't like each other. I wanted to get to the point of like Steelers Ravens, which I still consider to be the rivalry in the AFC North. I will do whatever I can to watch Steelers Ravens. It is such a fun game.
It is. I do think that it's taken a toll recently, though. It's not the same as what it used to be. No. And that could be because now Flacco's gone, and then last year Big Ben was gone, so they didn't get to really have Steelers Ravens. But this year, I'm glad Big Ben is back. Hopefully, he can stay healthy, so we can see how that rivalry ends up forming out.
And it looks like we got a question from Alexander Heck. How much will we see J. Smith at safety?
Oh, Jimmy Smith. Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I called him Jalen. My bad.
No, it's all good, man. That's a good question. And I think that I can't really put a number on it, but they're definitely gonna mix it up because with the Ravens they have Jimmy Smith, they got Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, but they got Tavon Young. He's back. And he of course missed last year, but he's back now. He'll be that slot corner. So that with having those four starting corners as corners, Jimmy Smith sort of being on the back end of his career, still really good, but still on the back end of his career. That's why they've been transitioning him to safety, and also with Earl Thomas being gone now too, that gives them some flexibility at the safety position. But I think that Wink, Don Martindale, the Ravens defensive coordinator, he's definitely going to mix them in there quite a bit, just to give the Browns some different looks, give Baker Mayfield some different looks. And I think he's really going to move a lot of the defensive players around. Maybe not too much this game, but really throughout the season. But in this game, yeah, we'll definitely see a decent amount of Jimmy Smith as safety taking some snaps there.
Got it. And last thing, because I know you got to get running soon. How do you feel about starting the season off with a divisional showdown like this? Do you like it? Do you kind of wish you had a non-divisional opponent to start the season? What's your feeling about that?
I'm with it, man, because the thing that, I mean, with football season, especially compared to basketball season, like basketball season, you can afford to start off slow. And then you can still end up making the playoffs. You could lose like 10, 15, 20 games, and then you can end up still making the playoffs. But with football season, whether it's a division opponent or not, you don't have time to mess around. And you have to come out from jump, and you got to get right, or else it's going to make the rest of your season that much harder. So with this being a division games, you have to be extra on point because the division is the first thing that you want to try to win. That's why every team talks about, hey, we wanted to win the division, and then everything else will fall into place after that. So with them having a division game from jump, this means that both teams, we're going to see who's on point the most and who's ready, who's the most prepared.
Yep. We start off with 2 divisional games because next week we're on Thursday Night Football taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, which Jazzy TV commented in this chat. I will be in touch with you for next week to set up a Bengals-Browns Battle of Ohio showdown, which we're going to be adding a little bit of an incentive on that game. I'll tell you more about that when we get to that video, but it's going to be our first time doing our video collaboration together. Yeah. But part of the reason I wanted to do this video collaboration with you is because when I've done these video collaborations, the Browns have only lost twice. One of them was against your Ravens in Week 17 of the 2018 season in Baltimore.
That was the best. That game was, oof. There hasn't been a Browns-Ravens game like that, well, since then. And it wasn't really that long ago, but that out of the past 4 games, that was the best one. Oof.
Yeah. I have to admit, even though the Browns came out on the losing end, that was an amazing game.
Yeah.
But I want revenge on you for that game.
So we'll see what happens this Sunday, man. It is, while I do expect the Ravens to win 35-20, it could obviously go either way because it is always any given Sunday. And especially with it being a division game, those division games, they hit a little bit different. So it just gives the opponents that much more because they're so familiar with you because they play you 2 times a year. So it could go either way, but yeah, I still do believe Ravens going to pull it out.
Yeah, I'm surprised you have it as high scoring as you do because I have it 24-17 Baltimore, so a little bit lower scoring than what you have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just, like I said, I just think that I think they're going to start off a little slow. But it's going to be gradual, and then in the second half, that's when I think things are really start rolling for the Ravens, and then they start taking off.
All right. Well, maybe we'll do a post-game show, maybe not. We'll wait and see on that one. But it was good to talk to you again, and good to just talk some football. It's at least we get some sense of normalcy back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and tonight, everything starts tonight, man.
I know. I'm gonna make the prediction now. the start of next season, it will be your Baltimore Ravens unveiling a Super Bowl 55 championship banner. I'm going to say it right now. Kansas City is a great team with Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, and everybody else on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think you guys have something really special in store for this season. I don't know why, but I think last year's game put a big chip on your shoulder, like, oh, we can't just walk into our home stadium and expect to win. Like,
Right.
And you're going to use that as a chip on your shoulder. Not saying it's going to be smooth sailing, because I think there will be some bumps in the road.
Right.
But I think you guys will be hoisting the Lombardi at the end of the season in Raymond James Stadium. And I'm going to say you guys are going to beat, let's say, how about, I think you guys are going to beat Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yes.
That's a fun one. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm picking you guys to win the Lombardi. And if it is the Ravens in the Super Bowl, I will be rooting for you.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah. I'm hoping Baltimore's in the Super Bowl because I want to see what Lamar Jackson does. I want to. You guys are such a fun team now, which is not usually something you say about Ravens teams. Like, oh, the Ravens are such a fun team to watch. It's like that doesn't make sense. But again, great to talk to you. Always love talking football. So if we don't do a post-game show, I'll see you in week 14 for Monday Night Football when you come to our house.
Monday Night. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my guy Kevin said that he wishes that Browns fans that came to the videos were as respectful as you.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm a Browns fan, but I respect my opponents. I like to talk honestly with them. And, you're a good dude, man. You are. I love talking football with people like you because you're knowledgeable about the game. You support your team wholeheartedly. I mean, it looks like you have like purple lighting to represent the Ravens. You have a bunch of Ravens gear. I don't have as much Browns gear, but I have some stuff. But, I just like talking football. So, and yep. So again, great talking to you. And again, if I don't see you before, see you in week 14 in Cleveland.
All right. Appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
All right. Good to have you.